You know what makes Thomas Shelby so powerful? Not that he's fearless. It's that he takes all the pain he's been through and turns it into fuel. That's his real power. That's the real difference between him and everyone else around him. In this video, we're gonna break down how Shelby turns his scars into strength, how he uses his past to stay calm and in control when others would completely fall apart. And the best part, you can do the same thing in your own life if you follow these steps. Number 5. Shut down emotions completely. One of the most powerful things about Thomas Shelby is how he handles emotions, or maybe I should say, how he shuts them down completely. He came back from the war carrying more pain than most people could even imagine. But instead of letting it eat him alive, he built a wall. He didn't allow himself to break down in front of anyone. He didn't give his enemies, or even the people closest to him sometimes, the satisfaction of seeing him weak. And that's what made him stand out. It's not that Thomas didn't feel anything. He felt everything. He lost people he loved. He carried the weight of war, guilt, and betrayal. But he decided he wasn't going to let feelings run his life. He knew emotions could make him reckless, cloud his judgment, or put the people he cared about in danger. So he kept them locked inside. He stayed calm when others panicked. He stayed still when others fell apart. And that control made him untouchable. Now, in real life, shutting down emotions doesn't mean you stop being human. It means you stop letting emotions dictate what you do. Because the truth is, emotions lie. They'll tell you to quit when things get tough. They'll tell you to beg for attention when you should be standing tall. Learning to control emotions doesn't make you weak. It makes you stronger than everyone around you. That's why Thomas Shelby looked like the calmest man in the room, even when his world was collapsing. And ask yourself, when everything goes wrong, do you let your emotions take over, or can you stay calm like Thomas Shelby and keep moving forward? Number 4, think strategically and never repeat the same mistake. Thomas Shelby's pain didn't just make him colder, it made him smarter. He wasn't just surviving by being tough, he survived because he was strategic. Every loss, every betrayal, every failure, he treated it like a lesson. If someone tricked him once, it never happened again. If a deal went bad, he studied it and made sure he never walked into the same trap twice. He didn't waste pain, he used it like information, like a manual on how to win next time. That's what made him so dangerous. His enemies never had the upper hand for long. They could surprise him once, but after that, Thomas was already 10 steps ahead. That's why he could run an empire while most people couldn't even keep their own families together. He had this ruthless kind of memory. He remembered pain, but instead of crying about it, he dissected it. He asked, what went wrong? How do I fix it? How do I make sure it never happens again? This is something most people miss. Pain isn't just suffering, it's a teacher. If you fail, if you lose, if you get hurt, it's showing you something. But the problem is, most people don't want to face it. They ignore it. They repeat the same mistake over and over. That's how you stay weak. Thomas Shelby shows you the opposite. Pain is like a map. If you read it, it'll tell you where the traps are, where the weaknesses are, and where you need to improve. That's how you stop just surviving and start winning. If you are enjoying watching the video, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Number 3. He fuels his hunger for more. The thing about Thomas Shelby is pain never made him smaller. It made him hungrier. Most people, when they go through tragedy, they shrink. They lose their fire. They give up. But Thomas used every loss as fuel to climb higher. Every betrayal, every scar, every heartbreak, it didn't slow him down. It pushed him harder. That's why he built an empire instead of disappearing after the war. He refused to let pain be the end of him. When Grace died, he could have collapsed. When his enemies tried to crush him, he could have walked away. But no, he told himself, if I have to carry pain, then I'll make it work for me. I'll let it fuel my ambition. That's why he was unstoppable. His hunger grew with his scars. And hunger is the thing that separates people who stay stuck from people who rise. You can do the same. When life cuts you down, you have two choices. Let it bury you or let it drive you. If someone doubts you, use it as fuel. If you fail, use it as motivation. If you get hurt, let that pain remind you of why you can't stop. That's how you turn pain into hunger. And hunger is stronger than talent, stronger than luck, stronger than fear. Hunger is what gets you up in the morning when you don't feel like moving. Hunger is what makes you keep going when most people quit. Number 2, turns isolation into strength. Thomas Shelby was always alone, even when he wasn't. He had family, allies, lovers, but at the core, he was isolated. He didn't fully trust anyone, and he carried his burdens in silence. Most people would see that as a weakness, but Thomas turned isolation into strength. Silence gave him clarity, while others wasted time in distractions, in gossip, in noise. Thomas used solitude to think. He planned. He strategized. He reflected. He was comfortable sitting in the dark with only his thoughts. And that's what gave him an edge. Because let's be honest, most people can't handle being alone. They need constant noise, constant company, constant distraction. But if you can sit with yourself, if you can face silence, you discover strength no one else has. That's the lesson here. Pain often isolates us. It makes us feel like we're on our own. But instead of running from that, what if you embraced it? What if you used isolation as training? Use that time to build discipline. Use it to learn. Use it to grow. Because when you don't need anyone else to make you feel strong, that's when you become truly unbreakable. So are you wasting your isolation, or are you using it to turn yourself into someone nobody can shake? Number 1, fear of powerlessness. At the very core of Thomas Shelby's life was fear, the fear of being powerless. The war taught him what it meant to have no control. Losing grace, losing friends, facing death. It showed him what it felt like to be helpless. And he hated that feeling more than anything. That fear haunted him, and instead of running from it, he used it. It became the engine behind everything he did. That's why he needed power. That's why he built an empire. That's why he controlled every deal, every move, every outcome he could. It wasn't just about money or status. It was about never being powerless again. He knew pain was unavoidable. He knew loss would come, but he refused to let life put him in chains. He used fear as fuel, not as a cage. And that's the biggest lesson. Pain shows you where you're weak. It exposes your vulnerabilities. Most people hate facing that, so they run. But the ones who rise, the Thomas Shelbys of the world, they face it. They take that fear and say, all right, if this is where I'm powerless, then I'll build strength here. I'll gain control here. I'll never let this break me again. That's how you transform pain into your sharpest weapon. If you've ever felt powerless, that doesn't have to be the end of your story. That can be the start of your rise. And if you choose to use it, fear becomes power. If you've made it this far, you already feel the power behind these lessons. And if you want to rebuild yourself into a man of strength, control, and discipline, then you need to go deeper. That's why I have made an ebook for you, How Modern Men Reclaim Strength and Inner Discipline. Here you'll find the practical steps according to this modern world. Give it a try and see the result yourself. Hit the like button and subscribe to Warriors Code for updates. Thanks for watching.